Hello, everyone. I'm Robyn Grable, the founder of Talents Ascend and the Ascend Collective, and your host for Ascending Beyond Barriers. Welcome. Ascending Beyond Barriers is an inspiring podcast dedicated to showcasing the remarkable journeys of small business founders who have faced and overcome significant challenges on their path to success. Each episode delves into the personal stories of entrepreneurs from diverse backgrounds, highlighting their unique experiences, struggles, and triumphs. Today, we welcome Donnell Johns Sr., a dynamic leader and driving force behind Veterans Growing America, a national movement dedicated to empowering veteran and military spouse entrepreneurs. Through local events, strategic partnerships with veteran organizations, and tailored marketing initiatives, Veterans Growing America provides a platform for these trailblazers to showcase their businesses and access the resources they need to thrive. Donnell also leads A Vision Worldwide Leadership consulting firm where he coaches C-suite executives, entrepreneurs, and professionals to achieve their goals with a winning mindset. His mission? To help leaders inspire their teams, drive productivity, and create the success they envisioned. Welcome, Donnell. I'm so excited about this conversation because we've known each other for a while. We met, probably early or late spring, early summer in 2019 at a 1 million cups, which was so cool. You were so welcoming. When I did about 22 of those in that time frame between beginning of 2019 and 2020 when COVID hit. I had done about 22 East Coast seaboard kind of place. So it was great. And then we met each other again at the Military Influencer Conference that fall in September of 2019 and just been honored friends since then. So welcome. Just thank you so much for being here. Let's get started because we've got a lot to cover. You are just so dynamic. I want to hear all about all the things you're doing, but let's start with Veterans Growing America. What inspired you to create that? Tell us more about it. Go.
Man, so where do I start with that? I mean, Veterans Growing America was a concept that was brewing with me since, I served in the military. It wasn't, I didn't have it all the way thought out or anything like that, but I knew that, I was in the people business and I wanted to help people,
Sure.
And that has been my inspiration, for everything that I do. It's all about people. I retired as a command sergeant major, and I always thought about that rank and that acronym as customer service manager.
Nice.
And how could I, basically take care of my customer in a way that they feel, like they were a part of something bigger than themselves,
Sure.
And when I got out of the military, I stepped into this environment that was unknown to me. It was pretty scary. And I immediately started a business. And you know how that is. I mean,
wow. From the fire to the fire pit.
Yes. Because I felt like, I was like, do I want to work for someone else? Especially after leading an organization I was a sergeant major for 8 years. And,
wow.
I led at the highest level. I was the first Army National Guard G1 sergeant major in Army National Guard history, over 350,000 people. And I was like, unless an organization lets me in at that level,
right,
I would have to work for myself. And so I started the leadership consulting firm, to help leaders get the most out of their teams and make it an environment where people want to work. And then I immediately found that leaders in the civilian sector were more, interested in money than supporting people. I was like,
fortunately.
I mean, business is a part of money, but you have people that drive, behind it. And then,
and you can't have a business without people. So you have to cultivate your people. Yeah.
Exactly. And, that kind of frustrated me. And then also I was learning about business at the same time. And I was looking for military business communities. The first business community that I started was 1 Million Cups, where we met at. And then from there, I saw that I was like, I'm still missing something. Where are my military connected people? When we met, I was actually inspired. I was like, there's more out here, because I was like, oh, she's in the Navy, she's in business. And I was like looking for military business communities. At the time, I didn't know anything about um, Bunker Labs. I didn't know anything about the Institute for Veteran and Military Families. I had no
Right.
idea about the Military Influencer Conference. All
Yeah.
of these things were foreign to me. And then
Yeah.
I went to 2 events, actually 3 events back to back. I went to the Military Influencer Conference. I went to AUSA, the Association of the United States Army. They had this big event with all of these
Yeah.
vendors out there trying to sell to the military.
Right.
Then I went to Barriers, and
Oh,
and
well,
I
you
saw,
hit some good ones, that's for
yeah,
sure.
I saw all of these great events, but these events were very sporadic. And most of the 2 events that I talked about were 2 events that just happened once a year, and then one happened once a quarter. And I'm
Yeah.
like, how could I create something where it picks up where they left off
Mm.
and also builds a community around entrepreneurship? And that's where Veterans Growing America was born.
Awesome. Awesome. So you have 2 locations now. Tell us about where those are and kind of what the model is and more about how you bring these entrepreneurs together and create that community. But how do you do that?
So it started off as a pop-up model
Okay.
where veterans and military spouses popped up at our location.
Nice.
But let me back up a little bit, right? Um, when we started out with Veterans Growing America, initially it was supposed to be events to the public
Huh? Okay.
where people can support veteran and military spouses in person to the public. And we did our first event at Girani Coffee House in Manassas, Virginia. And what I found when we did the event was America wanted to do business with us. They just didn't know how to find us. And so the event that we did,
Yep.
it drew in 900 people to come out and support us.
Wow.
Exactly. That's what I said. I was expecting people to support, but I wasn't expecting droves of people to come in like that.
That's amazing.
The doors were supposed to open up at 9 o'clock. We started setting up at 7 o'clock, and people were there before we even opened the doors. And all the way up until we closed the doors. And while we were breaking down, people were still supporting throughout
Wow.
the day. And so we started at 9 and we ended at 5, but we really didn't end till like 7, 8 o'clock at night.
Oh my
It was that
gosh.
cool.
Wow.
And I wanted to do another event like that, but COVID hit when we were supposed to do our second event.
Uh,
And I wanted to do the event actually right outside the doors of our location in Woodbridge. And so I went to them and talked to them about doing an event right outside the doors, and they were like, "You can't you can't rent this street because we already have another company that we rent the street out to."
oh my gosh.
And so I was like, "So what can you do for us?" And then we figured out that there was an empty store because of
Right.
COVID that
Yeah.
they had, and it was like, "Well, we'll rent this out to you for 90 days, and then after the 90 days, you guys can y'all can pop up and basically leave." And 3 years later, we're still there.
Nice.
And so it was supposed to be a pop-up store, but it
Wow.
ended up being a pop-up store that turned into a retail store. So now we
Right.
have retail vendors 7 days a week selling
Wow.
their products and or services. In addition to that, they can also pop up. People can also pop up there, and get their business started. And so we
Mm.
have a ton of pop-up events at the Woodbridge location.
Yeah.
When I say pop-up events, we try to extend the thought process of what a business is and how people can support veterans. So our pop-up vendors can be anywhere from a person selling t-shirts and tumblers or comedy shows
Nice.
or line dancing or
Woo.
networking. I mean, whatever a veteran sells or their product and service is, as long as it's legal, moral, or ethical, we try to
Sweet.
accommodate them in our space.
Nice. I gotta
So
get in on the line dancing. So when we have that again, I gotta be there for that. That's awesome. You said a couple of things. I want to go back to you decided when you got out of the military to immediately become an entrepreneur. What would you tell people are the good, bad, and the ugly about that decision?
Ooh. So here's what I will say. Ignorance is bliss.
Okay.
Because if somebody told me the amount of work that you would have to put in, before you see a profit,
Oof.
right?
Yes.
People would quit immediately.
Yes.
And a lot of people do quit immediately.
Yeah.
Um, but the beauty of being a veteran is we have that resilience and we have that stick to itiveness and we have
Yeah.
that discipline to move forward. But I tell someone, hey, be as ignorant as possible, but as knowledgeable as possible. You know,
Yep.
take as many classes as you can to learn about the business aspect of it.
Hmm.
But when you go to execute those things, it doesn't work the same way. But the
Yeah.
fundamentals you need to know.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that I've learned in our years of being in business is when I first came up with this idea myself a long time ago, I thought it was gonna be easy. I thought just, "Hey, put this out there. Everybody wants to hire veterans. Everybody," all the but it's not easy. It is
No,
not easy, and you have to change your mindset too to understand that it's not easy, and you've gotta go after it, which, again, I agree with you. Veterans have that tenacity, that resilience, that resourcefulness to do that. So, fantastic. So, how did Veterans Growing America, how did the name come about? I mean, I get it because it's great. Tell us how that you came up with that name.
it just came to me. I
Yeah.
really can't. It was like I was thinking about veterans, and we were Veterans Grow America, initially,
Okay.
because I'm all about action, right? And growth.
Yeah.
And I knew that grow was one of those things that required time, a little bit of pain, a little bit of nurturing, a
Yep.
little bit of support. And you also, make a name big enough to where uh, it can grow internationally, right?
Sure.
And so America is something that I loved, since I was a kid,
Of
you
course.
know, since I since I joined the military and I realized what we have as Americans in the American dream, you
Yeah,
know, we're the ones when it comes to veterans, we're the ones that, really make it possible for America to grow in the way it can, through our service. So that's a
absolutely.
little bit how the name came about.
Awesome. And you had 900 people at that first event. Tell us because I'm sure there are people out there saying, I would love to have 9 people come to one of my events or, get 9 people to notice me as a new startup, as a growing business. How did you get 900 people to show up?
So if I told you that I don't know, um,
Hey,
I
that's
don't know.
okay.
I don't know, but so I was a recruiter in the military. And one thing about being a recruiter is I've sold this idea over and over and over again to people.
Yeah.
I remember, a lady told me that, it wouldn't work. I was like, okay, you're the wrong person to talk to.
Right. Good
So
point.
what I did was I talked to everybody in the city.
Mm,
I went
mm,
to um, every board meeting that they had, um, every chamber of commerce, anyone that had an audience, I went and talked to them about what we were doing. I
yeah,
created flyers and I dropped them off places. Um, anyone that had an audience, I talked to. And at the time, people weren't doing video. I don't know if you know this or not, but back in 2019, nobody was doing video online at all.
yep.
But but I was. I was the only
Yeah.
one that was doing video. And so what I used to do was I actually still do this. We're doing it right now, but I used to do it with my cell phone. I used to hold my cell phone up and then I used to talk to veteran and military spouse entrepreneurs and I
Right.
would allow them to tell stories on my platform. And it would only be 3 minutes long. And I would share their story all throughout LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube,
Yeah,
LinkedIn, Instagram. And it was all about, and it's still all about telling positive veteran stories. And I just
exactly.
continue to tell those stories. In
Wow.
fact, I don't know if you remember this, and I still have it. The video that we did
Yes. I was just thinking about that. I'm like, didn't we did a video at the Military Influencer Conference. I
Yes.
would love to see that.
So
You
we
have to
did a
send it to
video,
me.
but that's how I would get the stories out there, and then people started following me. I immediately back in that time frame, I got a following of like 7 to 10,000 something people,
Wow.
that followed me, throughout that period of time
Yeah.
on LinkedIn. But it was just about telling these stories, and people just saw it and was like, "Oh, you mean I could start a business?" And they saw themselves in people like you, and people were starting businesses and
Mhm.
being excited about it. And so I think, looking back at it, it was a combination of me telling everyone and then telling stories.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point for people that are thinking about or trying to get beyond those barriers, which is what this podcast is all about, is telling those stories, but telling the achievements and the challenges of getting
Mhm.
beyond those barriers. And it is, you've got to be out there. You can't, and I learned that too. COVID really turned me into a hermit, and I as an introvert liked my little corner of the world. But you cannot grow a business that way. You've got to be out there telling your story, telling people what you do, getting that attention. Otherwise, yeah, it's not going to work. So I want to pivot a little bit because you were in the Army National Guard for a
Mhm.
long time and achieved that high rank of command sergeant major, which is absolutely phenomenal. Congratulations and thank you for all of your service. But National Guard doesn't get the same respect as the other services. As a small business owner now, and being in the National Guard, how do you tell small businesses to take advantage in a good way of having National Guardsmen in their business working with them, regardless of if they've got to be called up for deployments, their 2 weeks, in the year doing training, their weekend duties, all those things that come with it. But the skills and the service, just there's so many positive things about guardsmen. What would you tell small business owners about hiring guardsmen?
I would tell them to do it immediately.
Right?
you know, um, because of their discipline, because, they're willing to sacrifice so much for their country.
Yeah.
Um, they will go above and beyond to help you achieve whatever your goals are. I met some extraordinary people while I served, and it blew my mind. The people that gave their time to serve part time in the military.
Right?
Anywhere from amazing business owners to people just looking to get ahead, and sacrifice, because when they sign up for 1 week in a month, they're actually signing up for active duty and to be deployed at any time.
At any second.
Right.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, they're also, serving their community. And
Mhm.
these type of people, these are the people that, I wanted in the formation with me, but you should want them in your business.
Absolutely.
Those type of people are the people that I want to work with me side by side that will take care of. And even if they have to deploy, they will do whatever it takes to make sure that you're set up for success.
Yep.
They'll write those standard operation procedures. They will make sure that they lead, coach, and mentor those people standing next to them. They will do so much for your organization
Yeah.
that will help you achieve whatever success that you're looking for.
Yeah. Well, and we always talk about too the skills that not only guardsmen, but any service member and military spouses as well, the skills that they bring to an organization, they can get 10 times the amount of work done that
Mhm.
and know that they're preparing for something and not leave it, half handled, etc. So it's just amazing to me that how people don't take advantage or if they see guard on their resume, they're gonna, discriminate they're going to disregard, it's just
Mhm.
it's sad. And so it's also because they're living with one foot in the military and at any moment's notice, as you said, they're being called to do something, and then they've got their civilian life. So it's not like a service member full-time in the military and then they transition out and they become a full-time civilian. It's you're half and half all the time. That
Mhm.
takes very special mental acuity to be able to juggle your family, your job, your military life all at the same time. So just amazing. And I'm sure they make amazing business owners. Have you met anybody in your Veterans Growing America that are active guardsmen or anybody like that?
Yeah, we actually have a couple of them that are full-time retail vendors at our store. Um,
Nice.
Nene Antoine, she has ATL Perfume Chick.
Ooh,
I actually wear her shea butter right now. I don't know if
nice.
you smell me right now in the
Oh,
office.
I'd love to. I can just imagine shea butter in and of itself.
Yes,
That's
and
awesome.
it's a scented shea butter, and she's a AGR lieutenant colonel.
Nice.
Yeah, and so she is. But the beauty of what we do is her stuff is on the shelves there 7 days a week. So when she's at work, we have an
Mhm.
employee there selling her product for her.
Nice.
You know,
Mhm.
if she has to go somewhere or deploy or whatever, her product is there for one of our employees to sell her product 7 days a week.
Wow. All right, so let's get into some of your best advice for entrepreneurs, people looking to start a business. What would you say is one of the number one things to watch out for? You've already talked about a couple of things, but what's the number one thing to look out for if you're thinking about starting a business?
I would say, depending on the type of business that you're looking at getting into, funding, right? You should probably start looking for funding before you need funding.
That lesson I learned too. Wow. I paid a lot of dummy tax in the almost 7 years we've been doing this. So
Yeah,
totally agree.
make sure you get your credit score correct. Make sure you start taking out some loans. You make sure you use the money and make sure you pay it back so the amount of money that you can borrow is available to you when you need it.
Yeah.
Also, do your research. There's
Mm,
so much information out there. You can go to YouTube University. Um, you can go to any of the schools that I mentioned in the beginning. They
yeah.
have the IVMF, the Institute for Veteran and Military Families. You got Bunker Labs out there. You got the Rosie Network. You got Warrior Rising. Uh, all of these organizations are there to be able to help you. And then you have local resources as well. The Economic Development Authority,
Yep.
1 million cups.
Yeah.
You-
Veteran business outreach centers as well.
yes,
Yep.
the V box. If you're
Yeah.
looking at getting into government contracting, there's VIP, the
Mm,
Veterans Institute for Procurement.
yeah.
And so put your feet in, learn as much as possible before you jump out there. And if you do jump out there a little bit, you know, pop up different places, throw the idea out there. Make
Yeah.
sure that you learn as much as possible before you get out there, because it's a lot of work.
It really is. Awesome. Well, so we're going to close out. I want to know, tell us one of your favorite success stories that where either you or someone you know that you've helped, maybe a leadership position, you've helped them ascending beyond barriers. What would you say is one of your favorite success stories?
Okay, I have a couple, right?
Okay.
Um, so when we started out um, at our first event, uh, we where do I want to start? So we have Triple Nickel, who started out with us, and Triple
Okay.
Nickel did their first event with us, and they popped up almost every place that we've been. They did their first event with us at Andrews Air Force Base. We went to Texas. They vended with us.
Nice.
Um, when we right here at Fort Belvoir, and so through the community, they've grown, and now they're on the shelves at Kohl's. They're on the shelves at AFES. Um, they are doing amazing, amazing stuff. So Triple Nickel is a great success story.
Nice.
Um, we have Keep Your Hair Headgear. Their stuff is now, and they started out with us during the first event. They have their stuff now on the shelves at AFES.
Nice.
Um, I can go on and on and on, but those are the ones that have started with us from the beginning, and now are doing some amazing things.
Wow.
Uh, and Chris McPhee, who is a part of Triple Nickel, has been with us. In fact, I shared the idea with him of Veterans Growing America since day one, and they're doing some amazing things with Triple Nickel. So uh, I can go on and on with the number of people that we supported, but those are the ones that are doing amazing as of right now.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you being on and sharing your story and your challenges, because it isn't easy. And people need to see and hear that having a small business and growing a business is not easy. You see people out there that, you think that you see all the success stories, but you don't hear the underbelly of growing a small business. So thank you so much for what you do. Thank you for being on. Thank you for being our friend. We'll look forward to all the next pop-ups. Line dancing is on my list, so I
Yeah.
want to know. Come to South Carolina. I need you to come here, but I'll be in Virginia as well, so we'll see you then. Thanks, Donnell.
Thank you so much.